Out of the shotgun, Garappolo drops back, three-man rush. He's going to look. He's got a lot of time. Throwing into the end zone. Touchdown! Von Wise caught it as Garappolo rifled it into a pretty small window.
In what has quickly become a league of quarterbacks, Eastern Illinois' Jimmy Garappolo has found himself right near the top of the pack as he works his way through his sophomore season as a Panther. Getting the opportunity to start was something that the Panther signal caller says really drew him to the program.
I mean, I wanted to play early. I didn't know I was going to play my true freshman year, but I mean, that was definitely an emphasis. I mean, some of the other schools had QBs that were a little younger and they were starting. So, I mean, yeah, that definitely influenced me in the recruiting process.
While Garappolo may have not had a vision for the quarterback landscape in front of him, EIU offensive coordinator Roy Whitkey felt all along that the young man from Arlington Heights could step in and play right away.
Jimmy came in. We expected him to compete for the starting job as a true freshman. Ended up starting the final 8 games. To be very honest, he'd be the first one to tell you. Struggled early, made a great deal of progress, played well the last 3 or 4 ball games of the season, and showed that he had some of the physical skills and some of the abilities that we thought he had when we recruited him.
While Garappolo did make strides during the course of the season, he remembers that first start being a little nervous, as he always knew the opportunity might come quickly.
A lot of excitement. I mean, that was probably the first thing that hit me. I mean, going into the season, I was on the travel squad. I kind of figured if we were struggling, the quarterback wasn't doing very well, I mean, there might be a chance that I would get in. But I didn't think it would come by the 4th game. I mean, it was kind of a surprise to me. There was a little bit of nervousness in the beginning, but I mean, as the week progressed and we went through practice, I mean, I really just felt like the guys really helped me out too, the older guys that made me feel comfortable in the huddle and really let me just be me and play like myself out there. And I think they really helped with that whole process, the O-line especially, and they just made me feel comfortable pretty much. And I think that was a big thing.
Here's Garappolo back to pass, 6-man rush. He's throwing deep, got a man out there. Ricks got it, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Eastern Illinois. Lawrence Ricks got behind the secondary, and Garappolo laid it up nicely into the wind on a 45-yard touchdown pass.
Well, they had man-to-man coverage out there. Eric Fennell had Ricks, and he was beaten soundly. And a very nice throw into the wind by Jimmy Garappolo.
However, with the numbers in the win and loss columns not being what many people had hoped for, Garappolo knew that he would have worked even that much harder to make sure he was able to remain as the Panthers quarterback.
And you don't want anyone to take your job, especially the quarterback position, because I mean, there's only one of you on the field, and you're not subbing in and out. So I mean, just that drive in the back of your head, like they could replace you at any time. I mean, it's a business kind of. I mean, there's what people do for a living. So, I mean, you got to have that in the back of your mind. You just got to go into every practice, every scrimmage, every game that if you don't play well, they might replace you. And, I mean, if you don't have that, I mean, there's just nothing pushing you. And you need to be pushed your entire career.
That competition came in the spring from a fellow freshman who was in the same recruiting class as Garappolo.
Taylor Duncan, redshirted last year and really made a big push in the spring. Probably made his biggest strides over the course of the off-season in the winter and through spring practice. Jimmy, it was probably good for Jimmy because it made him compete, and he came out of spring practice, had a good couple weeks of work, tailed off a little bit at the end, fought through it, and didn't play as well as I think he felt he could, and I think that gave him some real incentive to have a great summer, and he did. He was here all summer. I think grew as a leader with our kids, got bigger and stronger, which has helped him throughout the course of this season.
He steps up, misses the blitz, rolls right, throwing into the end zone, touchdown!
Now securely entrenched as the Panthers' starting quarterback, Garappolo has grown into one of the OVC's top play producers. He currently leads the league in pass efficiency ratings and has climbed into the top 10 in several EIU passing categories. Yet with all those numbers coming in, Garappolo had to get a message from home to let him know where he stands.
My mom actually just texted me the other day telling me that. But one thing my parents have always taught me is be humble about it. I mean, don't really focus on that. It's a team sport, and in the big picture, it's all about wins and losses. I mean, records, they're nice to have. I mean, it's something to look back on, but I mean, the wins and losses are what people really see. That's what's in the front page of the paper every day, whether we won or lost, not if someone set a record. So, I mean, the records are nice to have, but if you're not winning, I mean, it's not very fun.
We try not to pay attention to a lot of the stats and a lot of the numbers, except for, you know, the bottom line, the win column. And, you know, he'd be the first one to tell you as well that he hasn't done as well in that category as all of us would certainly like.
With a quarterback like Garappolo, Whitkey knows that wins and losses come based on the success of his young quarterback. With that in mind, the coordinator who crafted plays for Dallas Cowboys star Tony Romo has had to make some adjustments to fit his latest pupil.
We've tweaked things to fit Jimmy. He's a little bit more athletic than the guys that maybe we've had or I've been used to having in the past. Although he's not a natural runner, a gifted runner, he's a guy that's a threat enough to force people to defend the quarterback position in the run game. I don't think there's any question his greatest strength is quick release. He has a unique ability to get rid of the football very quickly, and you know, whether it be in a situation where he's not surrounded by a lot of people, or a situation where, you know, he's under pressure, he can get it out of his hand very quickly.
Despite the success Garoppolo has had, he knows that some of his best football may still be ahead of him as he continues to learn his position.
I could constantly be learning. I mean, just learning everything about the position, everything about the sport, about defenses. There's always more that could be learned. I mean, quarterback position, there's no end to learning.
He's got a bright future ahead of him. And, you know, again, he'll be the first one to tell you he hasn't, you know, nearly reached the level of play that he would like to or can.